Wolf Clock Productions, Wolf Clock here. Today we're going to be doing sort of a different kind of video. So, context, the free TF2 movement is going at full force right now, and I wanted to do my part. So today I'd like to just do a full stop and do a little bit of a different kind of a video than my usual stuff. Today I would like to talk about what Valve could be doing to help Team Fortress 2 and what they might do in the future. So to start things off, we have Overwatch. Now, Overwatch is a system in Counter-Strike Global Offensive where, in essence, what happens is to help moderate the community, what Valve does is they let trusted players in the community take a look at different replays of people who are cheating or hacking, maybe even just griefing in some cases. These get sent in by users who are playing, and when enough people who are in this Overwatch system agree that a player is a cheater, a hacker, a griefer, etc., they can issue a ban. So that's the first thing, is putting it in the hands of players, really. And I'm not just saying, like, oh, any player, because obviously that would be a recipe for disaster. But trusted users and members in the community who pass through a testing trial period and can be trusted with making these sorts of determinations. Second up, we have VACNet. Now, VACNet was a system introduced into Counter-Strike Global Offensive in 2018, I believe. And basically what VACNet is it's this algorithm, a deep learning system that they placed in the Counter-Strike Global Offensive, which automates the system of players reporting users. Basically, what it does is it takes a look at the behaviors of players, and over a longer period of time, it begins to learn cheater-like movements. So what it does is it does the reporting system automatically, and then it sends those automatic reports to Overwatch users to verify. So it's essentially an algorithm who has player, or specifically it has users checking to make sure that what's detecting is correct before prompting any final decision. And I think this is a really good idea. It helps automate things while at the same time making sure that whoever is on the other end isn't being treated unfairly by getting an actual user to verify at the very end. Another thing that VACNet does, and I have a chart here somewhere, I've lost the chart, but essentially what VACNet does is it puts together this trust system. So there are different tiers of trust, different trust levels, and players who seem like they're cheating frequently, or seem like they're with cheaters very frequently, or griefing or smurfing and all that stuff, they get silently added to these lower levels of the trust system. And only members of, like, I don't know, within maybe 2 or 3 levels of trust between each other can join together onto different games or matchmaking. So say somebody maybe isn't a cheater, but maybe helps a lot of cheaters frequently, like joins, plays medic, heals bots, all that stuff. They would go into this lower tier where they would only be placed onto servers with other cheaters. And I think that this is a very smart system which could help filter out all the bad actors. And again, this is something that Counter-Strike Global Offensive has had for years, so it's definitely within Valve's capabilities to put this into Team Fortress 2. I've heard calls for it for the last 5 years or so. So next up is Prime Matchmaking. Now this is another Counter-Strike Global Offensive deal. This was added when CSGO went free-to-play. So when they made it free-to-play, as a way to make sure that these bad actors couldn't get onto good servers with good people very often, they made a system called Prime Matchmaking. So essentially what Prime Matchmaking is, and I'll quote the Steam support about it right now, it's basically a system where if you have purchased the game in the past, or if you've purchased stuff in the game, or if you purchased stuff off the Steam store, you get Prime status. I believe this also used to work with the mobile authentication system, but I'm not sure if that's the case anymore. But the benefit of Prime status is that Prime members can play with other Prime members, whereas non-Prime members cannot, which would really help filter out a lot of these newly made bot accounts that people make all the time. It would make sure that bots, like even bot owners, would have to start paying a lot more money to try to grief players. And so Prime status, I think, is something that could be very easy to put together for TF2, especially since they already have particular benefits and downsides for players who are free-to-play. Obviously, right now, free-to-play players cannot use voice communication, they can't use voice commands, they can't call for medic, any of that stuff. So obviously there's already a system in place in Team Fortress 2 that detects if you are a premium user or not. So applying that to matchmaking, I think, would probably not only be an easy thing to do, but would help a lot of these cases. Again, it's not a single case thing because there are a lot of bots who have premium accounts, there are a lot of stolen accounts, but I think it would definitely help out. Next up, just actually updating Valve Anti-Cheat. So for those of you who don't actually know what Valve Anti-Cheat does, essentially all VAC does is it checks to see if you have particularly named programs on your computer that are running, stuff like Cheat Engine and other such cheat programs, and it checks to see at the startup if your library files are hooked or modified. So basically, if you start up the game with modified code and you try to join a VAC server, you're going to get Valve Anti-Cheat banned. However, if you do something as minor as getting Cheat Engine and using a hex editor to change the name of the program into something else, like, I don't know, Banana Engine, something stupid like that, and you use that instead, and you start it after you've already begun the game, you can basically just completely bypass Valve Anti-Cheat. So updating Valve Anti-Cheat so that it actually checks to make sure that you're not cheating probably every time you tab out, or every time you join a server, that kind of stuff, I think that would really make it more of a functional anti-cheat, because really it's the joke, it's like the butt of a lot of jokes these days, Valve Anti-Cheat not being functional at all. Even Easy Anti-Cheat, I believe, has some more utility value and power behind it than Valve Anti-Cheat does, so definitely having that minor difference added to VAC, I think, could do some major things to help detect cheaters and actually keep them banned. And finally, of course, is actually banning a lot of these accounts. So it's not hard to know which accounts are taken over and are bot accounts. You know, they all use the same usernames, they all get reported. There's a report system in Team Fortress 2. If people had just started using that report system and Valve started actually looking at it, I think they'd be able to find probably hundreds, if not thousands, of these bot accounts, and they could just ban them. I have a very old video on my YouTube account, and I still have a picture of it, of a whole bunch of competitive bans in Team Fortress 2 that happened a number of years ago, back when Valve was attentive to these sorts of things. As you can see, like, Valve is very capable of doing ban waves to help ensure that the community is cheater-free. So the fact that they haven't yet is just sort of mind-boggling, because, like, yeah, it's a little bit of effort to do, but come on. It's not like these guys are trying to hide. Anyway, that's pretty much it for this video. I just want to make a little quick summary of things that Valve could do to help the game. The background footage is myself playing on various different CTF servers and just experiencing the lovely bot crisis of the year of our Lord 2022. But for the meantime, I've been Wolfrock. Thank you all very much for watching, and here's to hoping that Valve will actually finally stand up and do something in the face of all these new people calling them out. So thank you all very much for watching. I'll see you all in the next video, whenever it may be.